Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of SpecTalk. This is kind of a cool one because this is the first episode in what we're calling season two. It's our second year of SpecTalk starts today. So the very first SpecTalk we had featured today's special guest. So we are going to introduce her in just a second. But on today's episode, we'll dive into the power and communication communication and collaboration in SpecLink. We'll show you how clever SpecLink could be as a hub for internal notes, open decisions, and team to-dos. We'll also demonstrate how simple it is to share in progress and up-to-date projects with architects, owners, and product reps. Whether you're managing complex specs in-house or coordinating with external partners, you'll learn practical ways to keep everyone aligned and informed. And as always, leading you through this today will be myself, Dory Azar, architectural consultant and product specialist here at RIB SpecLink, and my partner in crime, Alex Baer, strategic account executive and team lead. How you doing, Alex?
Great. How are you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Some of the
Good.
points that we are going to cover together today, we're going to talk about using SpecLink's commenting and notes feature to track decisions and tasks internally. We'll talk about sharing projects seamlessly with architects, owners, and reps, and we'll talk about keeping all project details in one centralized, easy to access location. But we are not doing this alone, obviously. Today's special guest is Holly Jordan, president and principal specifier at Jordan Consultant Specifications. Holly is an innovative and creative specifications writer committed to delivering consistent and quality specifications, master specifications, and design guidelines. Her passions include mentoring, teaching, and growing new specification writers, and leading the way for change and growth in the specifications industry. Welcome back, Holly.
Hi.
I think we all missed you. So looking forward to getting you back on here and picking that brain of yours and hearing what we have. I know we have had some conversations about the communication and collaboration ahead of time, and there's some really cool things that you're going to be sharing with us today. Looking forward to it. But before we get started, a couple of things. So start warming up, Holly. First, we are extending the offer that we had last episode for you guys. So if you are currently using SpecLink and would like to claim a free upgrade, this QR code is the way to do that, or there's a link on the screen as well. And if you're new to SpecLink, if you're not currently a user and are considering signing up, this will get you a free seat when you sign up as well. So this will definitely be a good offer to capitalize on. And this QR code will make an appearance later too. So if you miss it right now, we'll grab it on the next one. So poll question number one. Let's get this conversation started. Let me stop sharing my screen here and get some questions going today. First question I want to ask is, do you have frequent communication with your product reps? So in your day-to-day spec writing practice, how often, not how often, I didn't give you the option to say how often, but do you have what you would consider frequent communication with your product reps? And I'm seeing the answers coming in now. Really, I don't know what I would have guessed different than this. All right,
Me too.
yeah, we'll let a couple more. Oh, they're evening out. Oh my God. Oh, they're like,
It's a competitive.
yeah, if this was like a horse race, I'd be cheering. This is great. Okay, here I'm gonna end and share the results now, so you can see it's. I mean, as split three ways as mathematically allowed. So okay, Holly, this is what we're dealing with today. We
Wow.
are going to close that poll and we are going to get started. The first question, or where I wanted to start the conversation today, was kind of high level because I think we're going to get pretty granular in today. So I'd love to ask you first about what is the relationship a spec writer could and should have with their product reps? How frequency, level of sharing? What should a good relationship look like?
Well, first off, I mean, as a spec writer, we're expected to know everything about everything, and it's just not possible. So you should really rely on a good rep to be able to answer your questions. But one of the issues that I always come up against is there's a difference between a good technical sales rep and a sales rep who thinks that spec writers and architects buy something. We don't buy anything, right? I'm always interested in how much things cost, and but honestly, I'm more interested in the technical information. And a good product rep should know their product and their competitors' products so that they're able to answer all of the technical questions that we may have.
And then on your, I would be curious with the poll question that was just up. How would you say, how frequent would you say you're in contact with your product reps?
Well, I mean, it's all about effort. I mean, I go to events and I participate in things like this, and I go to CSI meetings and skip meetings and stuff like that. So it's all about getting to know your reps, because if they know who you are and they know what kind of projects you have, then you'll be able to have better relationships. It's all about relationships. So I mean, I have good relationships with all of the reps. I've been around a while, so and also to my advantage, my husband is a spec writer, although retiring at the end of the month. And
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, I have all of his contacts too. So, I mean, I feel like I have pretty good relationships with manufacturers. I make an effort to get to know who my reps are, so that when I have a question, they know who I am, and they can contact me or come to the office, or I'm always open to talking to our reps.
We love that about you, Holly. Now, how often are your specs reaching or your reps reaching out to you? Do you find that you reach out to them more? Are they sort of checking in annually, quarterly, based as products change or update? What's your really experience in that direction?
I think it depends on, it kind of comes in waves, right? If I go to a big event like a specifiers retreat or a skip meeting or a CSI
Mhm.
meeting, then the contacts, go up. I mean,
Right, right.
I was like super excited last night. I met this a guy who does overhangs and eyebrows and canopies and stuff for buildings, and I was like, oh, teach me everything, right? So it was like really, I mean, so it's all about, it kind of comes and goes in waves. And then
Mhm.
I have certain reps who like check in with me frequently. But I mean, I know we'll get into it. I have some reps that are on my SpecLink in my masters, and instead of trying to like chase me down, they can just go into my masters and ping me that way, which is what we'll talk about today, I think.
Th- Could there be a better segue, Holly?
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
you rehearsed this or something like that. Alex, why don't we get into some screen sharing and
Sure.
um, talk about the different sort of places in SpecLink where you can communicate with people, because it's not just the commenting feature, right? There's master notes, there's some other ways that you can share information. So why don't
Great.
we get into that? And Alex, I'll let you take the lead on that, whether you want to share commenting first or master notes or some other how to share a project. What's your what are your some of your favorite features for communicating?
Sure. Well, first, let me become bright enough to figure out how to share my screen for some reason. Let's. Okay, is it showing on your end?
Yep, absolutely.
Hmm.
Okay, great, great. So yeah, so SpecLink, it's a tool it's a management system for specifications. It's a bit of a container system. It's a way to kind of keep things together that are otherwise, kind of Word documents that are flying around in the wind. So, with SpecLink, there's a couple different ways to kind of keep the communication open. Of course, first it's a cloud-based system, so you are able to take any specification, whether it be a project spec or if it's an office master, or say if you're an owner and you're trying to distribute your latest guide specs. But you can take those specifications and you have the abilities to okay, you could share them with people outside of your user group. So that could be people either internally, maybe that aren't on the spec side, maybe they're just on the drawing side, or maybe it's external as far as a specification consultant or the owner rep or a building product manufacturer, like we've been discussing. So anybody really, you can take and you can add their email, and then basically you're able to give them permissions to either view and comment on the specifications, or view, comment, and edit. Now, the editing rights, that would require either a kind of a consultant license from your side, or for the recipient to have a user license. And you can also determine
Actually,
what kind of juris.
Let's talk about just a quick second, Alex. So
Sure.
when you're giving permissions to collaborate on a project, when do they need a SpecLink license and when do they not need a SpecLink license?
So if they are going to be editing the specification, then that will require a SpecLink license. So
But to
for
access
viewing
the
and
commenting feature, that
would
would
be
be something that
is that's an unlimited right. That's an unlimited capability that you can use to share. So that
okay.
doesn't that does not require the license.
All right.
Uh-huh. And then so again, you can choose sort of the jurisdiction, whether it's the whole project or just, if it's a door hardware consultant, maybe you just want to, share your door hardware section. So you can, pick and choose the sort of level of access to communicate. Now you've also got a shared with me folder. So this is an area that you can manage those shared specifications with outside parties. You can have multiple files in here as well. So once we get in, I'm going to go ahead and open up the healthcare office master here that we see on screen. I'll go ahead and come to, let's just say something in Division 9. So when we're inside of the SpecLink program, there's a couple ways that you can, maximize your communication. One is going to be more of a kind of that hardwired kind of corporate memory, things that you have learned, maybe from a previous project, something that you've kind of come to a consensus on within the office as sort of a standard. So what we have are these notes here on the left-hand side. And when you click on these notepads, you've got it's little notepad icons. You've got adjacent notes that will give you descriptive information about that particular part of the specification. So these yellow or orange notes, these are built in or baked in by the SpecLink program. Now the blue icons here, these are going to be project notes. So these are areas that you can communicate, very specific information. Again, that's the kind of a lesson learned by your office or your company. So any of these blue icons, those are lessons learned. It could be something in regards to using a particular manufacturer for a certain type of project, or maybe when to use a certain type of finish for particular assembly. So all of these can be set up like such. We also have the ability to get more detailed too. So there's a way that you can kind of add in different sort of description, images, hyperlinks, and things like this as well. So that's all kind of pre-embedded knowledge that's baked into the specification, kind of the core of the program. Okay, and then we also have the ability to add comments. So this is going to be really where we start to, bring the parties together. And it could be multiple different scenarios, like we talked about, whether, you're the architect and you're working with your door hardware consultant, or if you're, Holly and you're looking to actually communicate with Gypsum, Georgia Pacific about their particular products. You have some questions about their products, if they're going to be a good fit for the project that you're working on. So any of these types of, parties you can basically invite to your project. And then even if they just have the view and comment only, those parties will be able to come to any part of the spec. They can hover over a paragraph, and then they can click on this plus symbol right here. Okay, so this is an area that they can basically add comments. You can also, as Dory mentioned, at certain people. So if it's a certain party or a group of people, you can at those people, and then you can ask your specific question. Does let's see, Georgia Pacific provide a good product for this XYZ project? Okay, and it can be as descriptive or as sort of direct as you like. You can also set up the status of the comment. You can set the priority level. And what happens is when you set that comment, it's going to go ahead and mark that in the side of the system. It's also going to send an email to that particular person. So the good thing about SpecLink is, it's going to bring the appropriate parties together where you find, intersection and collaboration. So if it's a particular section where you've got, and Holly or Dory, you may be able to provide some better examples, but you've got intersection between, say, a structural engineer and, an architect, or if you've got overlap between a mechanical and electrical engineer. There's a lot of
Mhm.
places in the specification where the sort of originator may need, feedback from an adjacent party. It could be, again, the owner. You want to make sure that this particular product is this type of standard that they want to use. And maybe they sent you a list of design standards, but there's some need to make some clarification. So wherever those sort of intersection points are, the commenting feature kind of brings those parties together where you can respond. You can make those decisions and apply those decisions to the specification. Of course, the anything that you do change on the specification will be modified with track changing.
Of course. Yeah. And then I think it'd be really interesting too, Alex, if you ran a report on the comments as well. Because I always find that an interesting, and I'd be curious to know if Holly's using that as a feature, because some of the people that I'm speaking to really like to use that report as a checklist, sort of a visual, like, hey, these are the things that I still need to do, or that have been done already, or when it was done. Holly, do you find yourself using the reporting feature on that?
So one of the things that we have here, and one of the rules that I have put forth here at our firm, is when someone sends a comment, when someone comments, even if it's just a simple, oh, misspelled word or whatever, I require that all of our team members respond to the comment, even if they don't at them. Because
Hmm.
if somebody says, "Oh, this is a typo, fix it," we may not at them, but we will respond, completed, done, fixed, like
Oh,
that, and then
okay.
we resolve the comment. So then we have a record of every single comment. So that's how I use that. So I want, no matter what the comment is, I like for us to respond, because that shows me that we have responded to the comments, and what the comment was, what the response was,
Hmm.
when it was done. So how long it took for someone to go in and respond to the comment. So that's how I use the reporting for the comments, is to make sure that every comment was addressed, and so that I will know
Right.
who did it. Because if it comes back and somebody says, oh, this is wrong, or this comment wasn't addressed, no matter what it is, I have a record of it.
So it's accountability. You're holding your team to a high level of accountability.
Right. And if the client wants to know, well, what were the comments, what was done, we
Right.
have we have that for them. So you can see on here it says the division, the section name, the sequence of where it is, um, what the status of the paragraph is, whether it's active or inactive. Because remember, you can comment on active and inactive, and sometimes we have stuff that's turned off, and when our reviewers look at it, it's inactive, and they say, "Hey, turn this on." Okay, or why did you
Right.
leave this
Right.
off, right?
Okay.
So I think that's important. I mean, the spreadsheet is like, whoa, it's kind of a lot on there, but to me the paragraph state showing when the comment was made and what the comment was, and whether
Hmm.
it was active or inactive, I think is like really important also. So you can see what the text of the paragraph is there, what
Hmm.
what was in there, okay, and then you can go on through, and you can see what the comments were back and forth, and who made them, and what was said, and by
Yeah, that's
who.
excellent.
Okay, so here's the comment, here's the question, here's
Hmm.
who made the comment, here's when it was done. Okay. You can see what the priority of the comments were, whether it was critical, or the priority was not set, or whether it was high.
Hmm.
Okay. To me, every comment has a high critical priority, right?
Of course.
And you can see when it was responded to. So it's really a documentation of the conversation.
Hmm. Excellent. Yeah, that's I think I don't know. I'd love to know if people are using this. So the comment section and the question section are open. So if you guys are using the commenting features or any of the collaborative features, by all means, let me know. Let me know if there's something specific that you want to see demonstrated when it comes to that. Now, Holly, how much are you using the notes features in your day to day?
Okay, so I just want to start out by saying that no one way is wrong. And and once you
But
get your on- once you get your car, you set it up the way that you like it set up. So for me, I like to have my notes in line. Okay, so any specifier notes, I have them in the body of the document and I have them tagged as non-printing, non-selectable notes because I like to use my notes pane where you have like the blue and yellow little pages over there. I like to use those for more instructional and more informational links. So, for example, if we're specifying a certain product, okay, in the notes pane, I like to put sometimes the interior designers they have their sheet that has like pictures or samples. So I like to put that in my notes pane.
Mhm.
So I use mine a little bit
Okay.
differently. I like to have, I give the example of fire extinguisher cabinets. So if you ask a new person, hey, do you know what a vertical duo fire extinguisher cabinet is? They will look at you like, huh, what? Right? Lots of times. And so we snapped pictures in my previous firm. We snapped pictures of the fire extinguisher cabinets that we had in the office because the interior designers, they designed our office. Okay. So we snapped pictures of them and we knew what the model and everything was. So we put the picture and said, this is a vertical duo fire extinguisher cabinet, and this is
Mhm.
like the ones we have in the office. And then we created a link to the cut sheet for that particular product.
Right.
So that's kind of how I use my notes pane a little bit more differently than say SpecLink does. Neither way is wrong. I
Mhm.
just like uh, and I think that's the beauty of it. You can make it work how you want it to work. So I like my notes bolded and non-printing notes in the body of the document and use so you can see on the screen there the certainty. You can see the chipboard there. So I like to have pictures and links over there.
Mhm. Alex, how hard would it be to demonstrate how to make a line non-printing
Sure.
for
That's
those
very
maybe
easy.
that want to model their process after Holly's process? So if
Sure.
just adding a sequence number for a note that doesn't print.
Yeah, absolutely. And Holly, do you typically keep yours sort of selected, or do you typically keep it unselected?
So I like mine selected so that they
Okay.
always show up. They're like right in your face. Some people
Okay.
gray them out, but I like them to be really noticeable.
Okay, great. So you can select it, you can italicize, you can bold,
Mhm.
any of those sorts of things. And then over here on the left, we have under our tags option, we have the ability to basically tag that particular paragraph as non selectable.
Selectable.
And
Right.
now you'll see that we've got these sort of faint dots here in the background that
Mhm.
kind of code that as, notating as it's a non, editable, selectable paragraph. And then as you see, if I try to, select this, it will not allow me to, it will not allow me to print it. So it is purely, as Holly mentions, in this, scenario, an inline note that is sort of an option in
Mhm.
addition to something like the master notes or project notes that could be captured sort of adjacent to the paragraph in the notepad to the left.
So
And
is
Holly, would
there
there be certain scenarios where you use like one versus the other, or
So I use the inline notes for specifier notes. Choose this
okay,
if or choose this if. Like, in a coastal
got it.
area, choose 316 stainless
Okay,
steel. Okay. And then I use the notes pane for like kind of like how you see it there for like pictures, examples, um, uh, links. So if you click on that picture there, I think it'll take you to that manufacturer's website. And I really love that. It should actually. Just like click on the link there. Yeah. So see it takes you there. It takes you and you can make it take you right to the cut sheet. And I really I really love that a lot. So there's lots of different ways that you can use it. You just have to play with it and decide how you you want it to work. It's set up really nicely to start, and then you customize.
Alex, could you? I
That's
just got two comments that came in within
sure.
a half second of each other about the dots behind the non-select. Can you zoom in
Such a
on your
game
screen?
changer. Such
But
a game
they're
changer when
saying they
they
can't
added
see it
that.
on screen here. So
It is
we
hard
just
to
is
see, even
yeah,
regular.
but
Yeah,
I, I just want to illustrate.
there they
Um,
are. So see, can you see them now? There you go.
yeah,
So,
that's.
and
I hope
And
that
right now
helps.
you're in normal view, right? So these will not print. They're always there to see, but they won't print. So Alex, if you go to active view, you can see what it really looks like without the note showing. Okay, it's still
Okay.
there. They just don't show if you switch views.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Uh, yes, a little bit of feedback on the dots. And again, I think so. I think that's just a screen, like a webinar thing. In person, I know I've seen those dots
Mhm.
on screen before. When they're on your actual monitor, they do pop a lot more than maybe what we're seeing on the screen share here.
Right, and that
So
was like a real game changer when that happened. I mean, we had all of our notes in and tagged as non-selectable,
mhm.
and before they had the notes, you can just see just the bolded and italicized, and sometimes on down in the body of the document you can see that there's a lot going on here. There's like blue, there's red blanks, there's all kind of, there's green up above. But when they added the dots to stand for the non-selectable, that was a game changer for me. Whoever thought of that, that was really great.
Okay. So Holly,
Great.
let's we're almost halfway through. Alex, you want a poll question or do you want a next question for Holly? What do you get to choose?
Yeah, I
Uh-oh,
like
Nish
that.
knows. Nish has a comment.
Let's see. Let's do. I think we're overdue for a poll question, and then let's go to the
Okay,
question.
done. Alex gets what Alex wants. All right, next poll question. Let's go here. Let's say, what's your biggest frustration when you're dealing with product reps? Be very curious because I think we've all got stories about
Ooh,
product
I
reps
know my
that
answer.
do you want to share your answer? So the
Uh,
options are slow response times, overly salesy approach. That'd be my least favorite. Lack of
yeah,
technical depth, or no real frustrations. Maybe there's one person here that's got really good reps. Um, Look at this crowd today. It's everything's almost split in perfect.
I
Um,
know. It's crazy.
Interesting. All right, that's kind of slowed down. So let's end and share that. So it's almost 30-30-30, evenly split. Holly, if which one would you select? I'd be curious
Overly
to know what your
salesy
biggest.
approach, because an
Yeah.
overly sales, see, the kind of, it's the same answer. An overly salesy approach lends itself to them not being having any technical. They're not technically savvy. So
Oh,
it's the
James has got a
same.
great comment. Sorry, James got a great comment here. It says overly salesy followed by lack of technical depth is usually the same rep. That's an
Yes.
interesting observation, James. Very
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's going to lead me to the next question. Holly provides me a nice segue. So when you're presented with a new product, whether you've inquired about it or somehow somebody's gotten in front of you to present a new product, how do you kick its tires? How do you determine that this is something that you're willing to include in one of your specs, which we know you put a ton of pride and energy into all of your specs? How do you look at a new product and like where do you get that feeling that this is going to be right for your project if you've never used the product before?
Well, first off, it's about the relationship that I have with the rep. Okay. Are they a trusted advisor? Is it someone who I'm used to dealing with? Do they have a lot of information on the product? Are they technically savvy? I mean, it all rolls into your last poll question, and I'm not just gonna take it at face value and like try something, brand new. Is it a proven product? What is the information that they have? Uh, would it be appropriate for my projects? You know?
And when you look at that, so let's say it seems to fit within the project, but how do you know that it's the longevity is going to be there, the quality is going to be there? What things are you looking for in a product that make you feel that you're not as high risk of using it.
So has the company done their due diligence? Has it been tried? What are their references? Is the rep knowledgeable? Is it a good company? Do they have information that I can actually spec it?
That's
That's
and are you finding that a lot? Like I would think if I'm a company making products, designing and making products, that the technical information, if you want to put it in front of an architect or spec writer, you got to have that technical
yeah,
documentation behind it. Do you find that some companies just aren't providing that?
yeah. And that doesn't lend itself to make me want to specify it.
No, that's really disappointing.
Right? If they don't have the appropriate information, because I have to take that information and I have to spec it and I have to show and teach our teams, my beginners here, I have to teach them about these products. I have to explain to our architectural teams why I want to spec something. And if I don't have that information, if the company doesn't have that technical information for me to be able to explain what it is and why we want to use it, then I can't spec it.
That's a fair thing, and then that's information that they can take back to their team and say, hey, we're losing business because we don't have um, whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever you find that's missing.
Right.
Um, so how do when it comes to products, and we'll stay on the communication and product train here. What can happen when communication starts to break down with you and reps and clients, and what are some sort of small mistakes that can happen in communication that have led to that you've seen lead to just big problems that could have easily been avoided by one proper communication or one comment.
I think when when I invite somebody to review our specs, one breakdown and one thing that they don't understand is, first off, spec writers and architects do not buy anything. We tell the person who is buying what to buy, but we don't
Hmm.
purchase anything. And an overly salesy approach and going through my spec and just marking out everything, because remember, most of the time we're required to have at least three manufacturers, three comparable products, and going in and just slashing through your competition and putting all of your stuff in there, I'm sorry, it leaves a foul taste, honestly.
Hmm.
It makes me not want to specify. But so I have some amazing reps that I deal with, and they understand this. They understand that I can't sole source. With some exceptions you can,
Hmm.
but and they understand, and a good rep will go in and mark out something on the competitions and say, well, this is not really comparable, you might want to call this person, call them and ask them, or I think here's a product that matches. I mean, and sometimes when they don't get chosen, if they've done it that way, I'm going to call them and spec them every time. But if they go through and go, oh, well, this is wrong, and just mark everything out because they're the
Yeah.
competition, that's not good communication at all. That's not good collaboration.
So when you're looking for a product, and you really want that balance between good product and good people that you're dealing
Hmm.
with, because
Hmm.
I've had some sour relationships with products because the reps were just like, I won't use in the past, I've avoided using certain good products because their reps were just inattentive,
Yeah,
or just not there, not present, or you had to you never want to have to chase a rep, right? I mean,
right.
it's ideally it's one phone call and they're going to get back to you. We got a question in the comments that came through for Holly, and Alex, I'd be curious to hear your input on this as well, so I'll send it to both of you. Question is, once the comments have been responded to by you and your colleagues, do you print and save the spreadsheet report and then delete the comments to clean up the section, or do you resolve the comments and retain them as a continued reference?
I resolve the comments because the resolved comments will stay on the spreadsheet. You always want to keep a record of what the comments are. So I always resolve once the conversation has finished. I resolve the comments because I like to go back and see why I did something. I can't remember what I did an hour ago, right? So I want to have a,
Right.
I want to have a reference. So I always, and they're always there. I mean, you could you could
Right.
download the spreadsheet and delete it, but I don't understand. I mean, I don't know why you would do that. I mean, it's always there. I like it to be there. Spec people lots of times, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but are kind of hoarders. I like to keep everything, you know?
I'm going to ask that question to the audience. Are you a hoarder?
A
That's
spec
an
hoarder.
excellent question. A
It's a
spec
spec
hoarder.
hoarder.
Yeah, I don't need your personal life involved in any of these,
Right.
but are you a spec hoarder? Do you keep everything?
Oh,
This is
I have
great.
my very first spec book that
Oh,
I did way back when I was a beginning spec writer. It's wrapped in brown paper, and oh, I bet it's really cringeworthy,
ooh,
honestly. You know?
no, but my wife is. Oh, come
So is it
on.
like preserved of coffee stains and all these things as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's some great, yeah, hoarder, no, just an archivist. That's a good answer. I like
Well,
that. Yes, always keep a backup. It's good to
yep.
keep a paper trail. Loretta is a self-declared spec hoarder.
Yay,
Fantastic.
Loretta. That's why me and
Spec.
Loretta are such good pals.
I'm a record keeper. Holly, do we need another t-shirt made that just says spec
I'm a
hoarder?
spec hoarder.
Good.
Oh, that'd be so funny. Oh man. Yeah, keep the comments coming, guys. These are great.
I
There
think
was a
it's important to note, I will throw in there real quick though, we've got an ability when you're in the table of contents view as well. You can come in and you can actually sort by the active comments. So whereas the spreadsheet will kind of document the full list of the resolved and pending comments, this is just going to show you the ones that are pending that haven't
Yeah.
been resolved. So this is a good working punch list too.
Yeah, and I can't stand it. I have to. My specs don't have. I like to answer and resolve because I can't stand all of those bubbles and notes. That drives me nuts.
Is this driving you crazy
Yes,
right now, Holly, to see
Yes.
all the
deliberate agitation in the software, I think.
no problem? Yeah, it's you got her blood pumping now. We're gonna make it through the last 20 minutes now. Alex,
So
can you just walk us through again the series of clicks that you did to filter that
absolutely.
and
So
where
yeah,
you're
when you go
clicking
to
to do that?
the table of contents, you're going to go to this
Mhm.
filter at the top left, and it's got a lot of different good things, sections in use, hidden content, even active, sections with updates available. So this one right here, it's going to be active comments. So it's just going to show you the sections where you've got sort of that punch list of
It's a little
sections
paper.
with, yeah.
Um, Alex, there's one other thing that we want you to look into because I think that the dot background thing maybe struck a nerve a little bit today. So Nish is asking if we can speak to the NS and NP tags as being an additional indicator if the dots might be difficult to decipher.
Oh yeah, you can see. So you
See.
can turn on your tags and you can see the ones that are marked as non-printing or non-selectable. If you can't see the dots, you can see
Yeah,
where Alex just put the NP or the NS over there.
right.
So that's
Yeah,
another
there's
way of being able to tell if you can't see the dots.
That's right.
it's a
Yeah. So the dots are going to be sort of, equivalent for both of those tags,
yeah,
but
because
the tag
and I will
itself will
say
tell you.
if there and this is really interesting and I got to double check the date. I think it's in October, but we are having um Deb Cho on as a spec talk guest who is our we'll be talking about user interface user experience in SpecLink. So some of these comments are I know there's some people that have a tough time distinguishing between red and green. Maybe the dots aren't coming in as high contrast, so we do have an episode dedicated to that in a few months here, so keep an eye on your inbox for that one. Nish had another
Okay.
comment here to Holly's comment. The
Oh,
hoarders, we call them archivists, record keepers. I don't know if you're seeing the same comment, Holly,
sorry.
too, if you're in the chat. Can also archive the email notifications that are triggered off every at mention comment. This is totally
Oh,
configurable, and
yeah.
you can switch off the notification triggers.
So I have a client that we have a meeting every other Tuesday, and his team is supposed to be reviewing the specs and commenting on the specs. And I have my email notifications on. Might not be a good idea, and I can always tell an hour or two without even looking at my calendar that we have a meeting that day because my emails start going boom, 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 like 40 in a row. Like, okay, so yeah, you might want to, if you have that situation, you might want to turn your email notifications, your commenting email notifications off. I find it amusing. I can say, "Oh, there he is. He's like commenting." It's so
We
funny.
got another question from AJ here. Simple question. What's the difference between non-printing and non-selectable?
That's a
So
good question.
non-printing is not, they're not going to print, right? It still shows up, I think, with the dots. But non-selectable means that somebody can't turn it off and on. I like to have mine on. That's my understanding of it. Maybe somebody else might have a different answer, but
So neither are going to print. Oh,
right.
okay. Neither are going to print. Um, but yeah, maybe Nish can jump into the comments again there and provide a little more elaborate. Actually, two questions just came through. Can you distinguish between non-selectable and non-printable? So we are going to work on getting a proper answer for that one here.
So
Yeah,
both are
non-select.
non-printable.
Right.
So if you
Uh,
if you change, I think, I don't know. No one has, I haven't even investigated that, but I just tag all of mine as non-selectable because I don't want somebody turning them off and on. I want them to always be uh, black. I don't want them to be grayed out. If they're selectable, if they're just
mm,
non-printing, yeah,
Here, Nish to the rescue here. It Paragraphs tagged with the NP or NS tags are paragraphs that do not print whether
right,
active or not in documents.
yeah.
Well, this might be cause for like a little side video here to explain this a little bit better.
Ooh,
It looks like there's some good interest there. You can select NP
Yeah,
but
now you can.
not
This
select.
is just sort of, room for thought. But as a reviewer, if it's something that maybe you do like or would want, you could always send a comment, of course, to the kind of the gatekeeper, and say, this is something that would be good to include, kind of a thing, for someone like Holly to review. So you still got those comments as well. It's kind of locked out, but you can still maybe inquire about it too.
see,
Mhm.
if they're non-selectable, if you have it on and they're non-selectable, they'll always stay black and you'll always be able to see them. But if they're just non-printable, you can turn them off and on where they show up gray or they show up black. That's my
Ah,
understanding.
so you would prefer, which I would prefer as well. If either way, if it's not going to end up in my final spec, I'd rather
I
have
do
it bold if it's a
non-selectable.
reminder.
Right,
Okay. Nish is chime back in. Common uses for the NP or NS tags. Often the NP and NS tags are used for creating inline notes and or checklists.
right.
Yeah, for checklists
That's
as
what.
well.
Yeah,
Definitely want those as non-printing, but
yeah.
selectable. Excellent. All right. Yeah. So that's the reporting. Man, we should. Oh, oh, Nish. Always with such good information.
Right. They can't be
In the
selected.
Yeah, so in the chat, everybody should have access to the chat. If you want more elaborate answers on this, Nish is providing some very well clarified points, but I will spare you guys from sitting here and listening to me read um, all of those things. Let's see if there's some other questions. Checklist. Got it. Yeah, AJ, our firm's NPs are in our checklist as editable. Excellent. I do find them. It helps architecture firms. Okay, excellent. So, but everybody seems to be having their different.
Right,
Holly, I love the analogy you said earlier. Everybody bought, 10 people can buy the same car, but you're all going to tweak it and sort of. Yeah,
right.
our phones are the same way. What apps you have on which screen.
Hmm.
It's the same device, but everybody customizes it differently. And I'm
Yeah,
seeing that a little bit coming through with the comments here of
yeah. It's important.
how people customize their spec link. There was a question that came in earlier. There was a whole flood of comments about the spec hoarding that I love. Okay, here. It, and I'll just play naive right now. If I don't know if this is a joke or if this is an actual thing. Do we have a dark mode in SpecLink where we can
Oh,
make the
that is a
background dark
big
and this?
deal. That would be so nice.
We don't have that,
Yeah,
right?
we
No,
do not. Yeah, not at the
Okay,
moment,
okay. I was
unfortunately.
gonna say like how would I have missed that? But no, I
no,
didn't
it
think
would
we
be
had that.
nice because staring at that bright white screen all the time. I mean, oh, if we could have a dark mode, that would be at the top of our list here.
That's an
Because
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, then viewers, if you want to have a say in SpecLink, you are going to want to stick around to the end because I have a slide that is going to explain how you can make contributions to future uh, updates and features in SpecLink. So stick around for that. Yeah, the dark background is really,
That would be so
from,
helpful.
yeah, if there's anybody on here that's done any drafting, the AutoCAD days was a dark background with various color lines on top for that contrast. When Revit came out, it was only a white background with black line, predominantly black lines. And then in the last like handful of releases, they've introduced a dark mode where you can flip it to the dark background and have the sort of
Yeah.
the inverse of all the colors. So yeah, it is a higher contrast. Yes. So Dan is saying, "Oh, we're getting the dark mode comments here. Yes to dark mode, all caps." So we got to take that seriously. Dark mode
Yeah.
would be great. Our staff has provided that feedback. Don't always appreciate dark mode, but it's good to have sometimes. All right.
Right.
Who's listening here that can implement dark mode? Let's take some notes and
Yeah, that
uh,
would be
and listen to our friends here. I gotta jot that down. I don't want to lose that
that's
one.
a big deal. That would be so beneficial because staring at this bright white screen all the time like this, even though if you can turn your, light down a little bit, having being able to switch to dark mode, that would be,
Hmm. Now I
yeah.
wonder what would happen in that case with the other colors. If what the contrast would be like. I mean, the yellow would be fine. Red,
Yeah.
green.
And the blue. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Also, sometimes it's nice to have low contrast or like a gray mode.
Yep.
I know that's an option on phones, on cell phones, where it will go to gray mode just to sort of wind you down before bedtime, so it's not the screens aren't so vibrant. I have a friend of mine that uses it in that way. But
Cool.
okay, dark mode. Holly, there's one other
Holly,
question
I have a
that
question.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, let's go.
So I have a question for you, Holly. So do you, when you are working with your clients, do you ever use the commenting for, say, an architect or an engineer to kind of correspond with their drawings? Like send something to somebody that's managing the model itself to ask if, for their input on the spec, kind of equivalent or to coordinate or,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I go back and forth all the time. I mean the capability of I can share with anyone I want and they
Okay.
don't have access to, change anything, but they can comment and review. I mean, I have manufacturers on our specs, and the thing about that is you can have the manufacturers look at your masters, but also look at your project specs too. I have owners who I talk back and forth with on the master guide specs that I develop for big institutional clients. They go back and forth. Um, I have, let's see, I have our project architects and I have our interior designers. I have my team members. So, I mean, I like to invite everyone I can. And the thing is there are certain disciplines that don't want to see the whole spec. So you can choose what they see. I think you demonstrated that earlier. You can show them, they can have access to the whole project. They can have access to certain sections. They can have access to certain divisions. So my fire stopping reps, I give them access on a project basis and on a master basis just to the fire stopping specs. They don't want to see the whole thing, right? And some division one, I think everybody should know what the rules are and everybody should have access and look at division one, but I won't I won't get on my platform on that right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Alex, let's try. Okay, so I'm chatting with Conway here on the side, and the comment was that they were making is dark background add-ons exist for all web browsers, and I just checked in Chrome. And are you on Chrome right now?
I am.
Do we want to test this out live to see if dark mode on
Ooh.
Chrome would do that? Holly, you seem
I
uncomfortable.
Well, if
And
it works, yay. If not, ooh, not on
I
me
don't know how
though.
to do that.
so if
I
there's
don't know,
three
Dory,
dots on
you have
the
to tell me.
top right. I'll walk you
Okay.
through it. Three dots in the top right corner there, and then scroll down to settings, and then from settings on the right hand side. Oh, so
What happened
settings is
there?
towards the bottom. It's its own. and then appearance on the left-hand side there.
Okay.
And then it's select theme, the very top one. And then dark mode. And if this doesn't work, I'm just going to like end the webinar and go run and hide. But now can we,
And
if you went back to SpecLink
Let's
now,
see.
look how I've never seen Holly this excited before.
Okay, I got to see it. This is a game changer.
oh, bummer. It's
Is
just
it per tab? Hold on. Is it per tab?
I think
Like,
it's
would you,
just the sort of like border.
or is there like an apply button or something? We're so close. Or is it per tab? I wonder. Here, I'm going to try that here. I think it's per tab because I just switched to dark mode and it only affected one of my. So if you
Okay, so what do
did
I
the
do?
same,
Device maybe or
so if you go to the SpecLink tab that you had open,
oh, I see. Okay.
do it
Okay.
in that. It might be tab specific. So the three dots there, I'll walk you back through it again. Top right, settings all the way at the bottom, or very close to the bottom there. And then dark mode, appearance, dark. It looks like it's there already.
Yeah.
So it did it. Okay, interesting. Themes might be the only way for browser interface. You need Conway's saying you need an extension for Conway thinks for the
It
Chrome
was
to
worth
have
a
a
try,
backup.
though. I was getting
Yeah,
excited
that's an
there.
interesting. Oh, Holly, you
Right.
know what? I'm going to
This is a
I'm going
big
to
deal
land
for
this.
people.
I'm seeing that now. Yeah, and I didn't.
Yeah.
We. Oh, Frank is saying refresh the page. Maybe that would be. Oh, Carolyn said refresh too. So maybe that's. Maybe I don't know if I've experienced this much suspense on SpecTalk before. This is great.
This is a
Nish, message
really
in
going
the
off the
chat
rails here.
plugin option. Oh, so Nish did give us a plugin option. Darkreader.r. Okay, cool. Guys, Holly, check the chat because Nish is saving
Oh,
the
that's
day today.
awesome. I can't wait.
So we always joke Nish knows, but maybe it's like
Well,
Super
Nish
Nish or
does
something
know.
like that. Nish does
When
know,
does
of
Nish not
course.
know?
I haven't experienced that version of Nish yet.
Yeah.
So guys, let's start letting this is way too much excitement. I gotta. I was just
Well, the
feeding off
turbulence
of
of this
Holly's
landscape.
energy, right? Like I've never seen
You
Holly's always
missed me,
so
didn't you?
chill and so calm and so southern, and I've never seen her lean forward like into a computer screen
I
before.
know. I thought, man, I thought it was gonna work. I did. I was getting excited there.
Well, go check out the
I'll have to check it out.
thing we are working. Oh, so Nish says we are working on this, but would love to offer a near-term alternative, and then the Dark Reader plugin for Chrome. Cool, guys.
Perfect.
Thank you everybody for joining today. We have 111 wonderful people on with us right now. I hope we all enjoyed having Holly back. Holly, thank you for coming back and hanging out with us,
Thanks.
even though we had a near miss with the dark mode.
Oh, well.
Here, Alex. I'll take over the screen now because there's a couple of
Sure.
last slides that I want to share with the group because there is something, some special features that we are going to have, some special offerings, and don't mind me. I'm just going to fly back through my slides. If you want to reach out to Holly Jordan because she's awesome and that's just what people want to do, jordanconsultants.com is the best place to do it. All of the contact information is there. And yeah, you can connect with her that way. Like we said before, the offer, the giveaways, we are extending it. So if you wanted to claim a free upgrade, if you're already a SpecLink user, or if you're thinking about signing on with SpecLink and you want to sign on with one extra seat, by all means, this is your go-to QR code that will help you do that. And this is what I was excited to share with everybody today. So we have SpecLink Labs starting up, and what that is it's going to be inviting you to be part of a collaborative focus group to help shape the future of SpecLink. So what that's going to get you is early access to new SpecLink features, themed virtual workshops with industry peers, and some flexible it's like a flexible webinar-based participation. So if you want to have your say, keep an eye on your inbox. All current SpecLink users will be getting an email. Space is limited. Not everybody's going to get in, but it is going to be your opportunity to have your say, which is going to be maybe I think we're gonna have a lot of dark mode and a lot of dots, non-printing, non-selecting conversation in there.
I was just gonna say that. Everybody sign up and ask for dark mode.
Holly's gonna have like 25 just burner email addresses in there. She's gonna have the whole room to herself. Our next Spec Talk is going to be part 2 of a popular one that we did before called SpecLink for Owners. This time, the previous one, part 1, we had Glenn Hines as our special guest. This time we are having the incomparable David Abrams, our very own David Abrams, joining us to share his really, really unique experience on working for owners and with owners. So that's definitely going to be one that if you're in the owner realm or want to know sort of a peek behind the curtains of what architects deal with or what they're providing owners when they work with them or what they want to hear when they're working with architects, it's really, David's got some really excellent knowledge when it comes to perspectives of working with and for owners. So Alex, you're the best. Thanks for being here. This is great. Holly, we will try our best not to have so much time between our spec talks. I know, yeah, I know you're upset with me, but
No, I've
I'll
been busy doing my specs.
not in dark mode. You're not.
No, not in dark mode, no. But yeah, I've been busy.
That's fantastic. Thank you guys, everybody, for hanging around, spending your time with us, and we will look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks for SpecLink with Owners. Take care.